Hello, and my name is Tyler Kroom. I'm the host of the HockeyNorth podcast. I'm joined here with Brendan Pawliw. Brendan, how are you doing today?
I'm well. How about you, Tyler?
I'm doing well as well. Some good weekend action here for the Northern Capitals at the Kin Center. We'll get into that in a little bit here, but how's your weekend there, Brendan?
Oh, it was good. It was relaxing. You don't get too many of these during this course of the sports season. So whenever you can take some downtime, you definitely take advantage of it. And it was nice to just recuperate and recharge the batteries for a couple days.
Perfect. It's always good to get those opportunities for sure. And for the viewers here, ahead on our programming, we're going to be going through all the status and updates of our hockey athletes here in the North in their respective leagues, and then we'll carry into our Cariboo Hockey Weekly update. And then we have an interview that Brendan Pawliw did with goaltender Jasper Tait, who's currently playing for the Nelson Leafs. And Brendan, I'm going to give you the floor.
Jasper Tait of the Nelson Leafs off to a very fast start with that team in the Junior B ranks. Of course, Jasper Tait, part of that U16 team that was destined to go all the way a couple years ago with the Cariboo Cougars under head coach Ryan House. And definitely caught up with Jasper, and he's certainly enjoying life here in the Kootenays as Nelson off to a good start as well in the KIJHL, and had no shortage of things to say in our interview here in this week's episode.
Perfect. And I know Jasper Tate's a goaltender I've watched a lot growing up as he played in the same development system as my younger brother Matthew. And, it's cool to see these young athletes continuing their career and progressing forward. And with that said, let's go into our Junior A updates for our Northern athletes. Brendan, what do you got for us?
Well, first and foremost, we'll start out on the prairies in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League with Alex Ochitwa now of the Nipawin Hawks. 8 points in 15 games. He had one assist over the weekend in a 5-4 loss to the Humboldt Broncos again in Humboldt. Obviously, a very heated rivalry there between the Broncos and the Hawks. Also, Milford Mustangs, the top rival for Nipawin, but obviously, two battles against Humboldt this weekend. Nipawin coming up a little bit short in that game, losing 5-4 in that contest. Jackson Hassman of the Weyburn Red Wings, still stuck on 5 points in 12 games. He actually returned to the lineup in a 7-5 Red Wings victory over the Melville Millionaires on Saturday. In the Manitoba Junior Hockey League, Amar Power, the Swan Valley Stampeders, still stuck on 2 points in 11 games. This season, he's pointless in his last night with Swan Valley. Swan Valley, a record of 6-7-1-1 in the MJHL this season. To the AJHL we go. It looks like this. Decker Moynton still looking for his first point with the Grand Prairie Storm. He's pointless in 8 games, while his teammate and also former Cariboo Cougar Owen Ploufferman still stuck on that 1 assist in 11 games for the Grand Prairie Storm. Just down the road in Grand Prairie, a bit further south, Spruce Grove Saints, Brophy Dunn, 12 games played, 6 assists, did not play in the weekend. Hunter Brown, another former Cariboo Cougar, did play on the weekend. He's now got 10 points in 11 games, and Hunter Brown, of course, scoring 1 goal in a 4-3 shootout loss at home against the Bonnyville Pontiacs. In the BCHL, Brody McIsaac having a productive BCHL showcase with the Alberni Valley Bulldogs. He had 1 assist in a 7-4 loss to the Penticton V's. In that showcase, Diego Johnson of the Merritt Centennials, he scored a goal and an assist on the showcase as well over the last few days. He's got 7 points in 11 games this season. So the Fort St. James product picking up right where he left off. Prince George Spruce Kings, no shortage of northern content. We'll start off with Lyndon Mackow, a goal and an assist in a whopping 8-0 victory over the Vernon Vipers. Spruce Kings going winless in the BCHL Showcase. John Harrington, Spruce Kings captain, a hat-trick in that 8-0 victory. Jordan Fairley, 24 save shutout, 7-1-0, 1.86 goals against average, 926 save percentage for the Spruce Kings this year in that goal as a starter. And of course, HockeyNorth athlete and former Kelowna Rocket Scott Cousins, now with the Prince George Spruce Kings. He did not play over the weekend, so waiting for him to join the Spruce Kings lineup, as he's now one of many Northerners, and former Cariboo Cougars on that Spruce Kings roster. Trail Smoke Heaters forward Quinn Disher, 2 goals and 2 assists in 5 games over the last 5 games for him. All 4 of those points coming, of course, in that BCHL showcase. And Aiden Reeves of the West Kelowna Warriors, the Warriors captain and former PG Cougar and Spruce King, still looking for his first point in the BCHL season for the West Kelowna Warriors. Before I switch gears to the junior B ranks, we'll actually take a look at our female athletes from past years. Former Northern Capitals, of course, Ella Boone, Carson Niven, Brooklyn Hutchings, all playing for the Trinity Western Spartans. Niven and Hutchings are redshirting right now, but Ella Boone playing in both games over the weekend in Winnipeg against the Manitoba Bisons. Ella Boone 1 assist and a 5-4 win on Saturday for the Spartans. For the Calgary Dinos, Keegan Goulet 1 goal, 1 helper, and a 4-2 win over the Regina Cougars. Brett Curley just playing the Friday game. That was a 2-0 Dinos loss at the hands of Regina. And Piper Alexander down in St. 2 goals in 2 games so far to begin her season. And now taking a look at the Junior B ranks down in the Kootenay International Junior Hockey League. Terrace's Jack Mulder, 8 points in 11 games with 100 Mile House Wranglers. Former Cariboo Cougar Tyson Smith, 2-2 with a 3.19 goals against average, 918 save percentage, 27 save win against Kamloops on Friday. That was followed up by a 47 save defeat at the hands of the Grand Forks Border Bruins today. Timon Sanakopoulos, pointless in 11 games so far for the Castle Gawler Rebels. Jake Phillips Watts of Quesnel, 4 points in 11 games with the Kamloops Storm. Dawson Davis of Fort St. James, he's got 3 points in 8 games, also with the Kamloops Storm this season. And we got a whole slew of Northerners also playing for the Osoyoos Coyotes, also in the KIJHL. Jack Henderson, 15 points in 7 games. He had 4 points in 2 games this weekend. 3 of those points in a 4-1 win over Summerland. Carter Yarish, a former Seattle Thunderbirds prospect and Cariboo Cougar, 14 points in 7 games. 7-game point streak for Carter as well. Zach Leslie, also former Cariboo Cougar with the Soyuz. Second goal of the season this weekend. He's got 3 points in 8 games. Ethan Flores, 6 points in 8 games for Osoyoos. He's playing forward for them. He's actually on defense, rather. And Kenny Giroux, former Cariboo Cougar goaltender with the U18s. 3-1, 2.97 GAA, along with an 895 save percentage. And lastly, Vancouver Island Junior Hockey League, Sean Meehan of the Campbell River Storm, 3 assists, 11 games played. Chase Pachenko, point per game player with the Port Alberni Bombers, 15 points, 15 games played. And of course, his teammate Ken McIsaac, another former Cariboo Cougar. He's also playing down in Port Alberni. He's got 9 points in 14 games this season in the Vancouver Island Junior Hockey League. There you have it. That's your full wrap-up of players, of course, in the Junior A, Junior B, as well as the Women's Hockey Conference in the Canada West as well for the past week.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Brendan. And I like that we were able to add in the female athletes that came here through the Northern Capitals program and get them some exposure and notice here. And it's a testament to how not in so much. I mean, it is a good program here, the Northern Capitals, but these smaller northern communities are really producing a lot of elite and I would say high-end talent in the female side of the game here.
Yes, and we're even seeing it with some of the players that are maybe not donning Capitals jerseys either. I know that we've even have former Caps players like Maria Eyre who are lighting it up with the Northern Alberta Extreme in the Canadian Sports School Hockey League. I know Haley Armstrong, who's no longer with the Northern Capitals. She's on the national radar. She was more than a point per game player for the Caps during her time. So Casey Dittner also playing in Northern Alberta Extreme down in the CCHL. So you're seeing a lot of these players being developed in these smaller northern communities, Tyler, and they're not just playing; they're excelling in all the levels they are getting ice time in.
Absolutely, and it's something that's really cool to see. And with that said, we're going to head into how our athletes are doing at the Western Hockey League level from players from the Northern region. Friday night, they did end up beating the Vancouver Giants convincingly 5-1. Fort St. John product and Cariboo Cougar alumni Caden Brown did get a helper and not a helper, he got a goal in that one. And then Saturday night, well, he didn't get on the score sheet. Pretty gutsy effort with him and the rest of the team, along with Prince George product, Fisher O'Brien, as they came back and tied up the game with Kamloops late and then ended up winning it in overtime. One of the top teams in the league this year. Of course, they're Memorial Cup hosts. So really, really impressive front there for the Cariboo Cougars to get that win, especially. We're going to head over the border to Seattle. Nico Majadovic, Prince George, BC product. He didn't factor in on the point sheet there over the weekend, but he's always an effective player as usual, and Seattle got another victory as they're continuing their very impressive. I think they're now 8-0 in the U.S. division, and I think that is a record that's definitely worth taking note, as this Seattle team is a powerhouse looking to make that step forward, and having a local product from Prince George on that team is going to be cool to pay a witness to for sure. And we head over to Saskatoon for Tanner Mollendijk. He did get an assist over the weekend here with the Saskatoon Blades, and another small northern BC town product from McBride, BC, which you don't see many names coming from that part of the region. So definitely worth keeping an eye on him. And with the Lethbridge Hurricanes, you have Miguel Marquez. And he hasn't factored in on the score sheet at all recently, but Lethbridge, a team that's doing quite well, and he's with fellow Northern BC product Hayden Smith, who's also filling in a depth role and contributing well to that team. And that pretty much well does it here for Western Hockey League talent. And now we're going to be heading to our Cariboo Hockey Weekly. All right, so we had two teams from the Cariboo Hockey program in action this weekend. The Northern Capitals, the U18 female team, as we'd mentioned earlier, and the U18 AAA Cougars. We'll start with the Northern Capitals, as it was their opening weekend. They started off Friday, they had a game Saturday, and then a game Sunday. 3-3. That can be a really grueling schedule, especially at this level, and the Capitals did well in earning all three victories. And 3 for BC EHL career firsts this weekend, as Paxton Fraser got her first goal of the BC EHL, Lauren Baker as well on the Friday night. And then we also had Morgan Lafleur, who also got her first goal. So impressive showing for the girls as they were able to get back in the winning column, use the home ice, get the momentum, and earn that 3-game sweep over the weekend. And now the U18 AAA Cougars, they split the weekend. They got a convincing 6-3 victory the first night on Saturday. And then Sunday they tied 3-3 with the Hawks. And pretty good showing here for the Cariboo hockey programs, as I must say, Brendan.
Yes, and especially the Capitals, and they're trying to climb back up the standings, playing a Comets team that's maybe not where they want to be either, but 3 games, 3 wins. Another big weekend ahead, as we're going to have 3 Cariboo hockey teams playing at home this weekend, and I know that's something you're very excited about, as we also have Pink in the Rink for both U18 programs as well.
For sure. And the Pink in the Rink night is definitely something you're not going to want to miss, as usually it is quite an event, and usually it's something that the players take to heart, and they put a good performance forward on the ice with the Pink in the Rink jerseys. All right, and that'll do it for Cariboo Hockey Weekly. And Brendan, how about you lead us into the interview with Jasper Tait?
Yeah, Jasper, of course, as I mentioned, loving life in the Kootenays. Cariboo Cougar product on that U16 team that had oodles of talent, as I mentioned, and he's off to a fast start this season, getting quite a few wins early on against the Nelson Leafs team that's looking to make some noise in the KIJHL this season. And this is what Jasper had to say during our chat recently. All right, welcome back to the HockeyNorth podcast. With me now is Prince George product and Nelson Leafs goaltender Jasper Tait. Jasper, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, Jasper, you've got some early season success here with the Nelson Leafs in the Kootenay International Junior Hockey League ranks in Junior B. What's been going right for you early on?
I think the team, right from the get-go, they were making me feel comfortable and let me know how things go, which really made me feel more comfortable and calm. And just on the ice, the communication and focus and just overall speed has been going well. And the team has been working together to get all the wins we need.
Just maybe take us through the path to the Nelson Leafs. Did you have any other offers to play Junior A or Junior B before deciding on Nelson?
Yeah, so I signed with Nelson back in June, and I was hoping to make a Junior A team still, but kind of had Nelson as that plan there still. And then I went to Spruce Grove main camp, and I was hoping to make Spruce Grove there, but I got released, which was too bad. But I was still happy to come to Nelson and start my junior career off in Nelson because it's a great place.
Mm-hmm. So let me talk about your journey. You're originally from Prince George. Just maybe talk about your early minor hockey days. What are maybe some of your earliest memories and just growing up, in Prince George playing minor hockey? Any stories or moments that kind of come out to mind?
Well, actually, I grew up playing like minor hockey all the way up till Pee Wee in Fort St. James. And then I remember we moved to Prince George in my first year, and my dad's like, "Yeah, you want to try out for rep hockey?" I had no clue what that was coming from Fort St. James, like just a small little town. So then I was like, "Sure, let's try to do these tryouts." And I was like, "Whoa, it's a lot faster and better than what I'm used to." So my first year there, I got put on tier 2, which I was okay with. And then from there, I just started making new friends and getting used to the hockey in PG. And I remember in Bantam, that's when it first started taking off for me. Bantam second year, we had a really good Bantam team, the Bobcats. We won provincials and everything. And from that year, that group kind of stuck, and we played minor midget together the next year. And we had a really good team. Thought we were going to win the whole thing, but we got shut down because of COVID, which kind of sucked.
Mm-hmm. Were you always a goalie? Is that the position you always wanted to play? Did you kind of try out a couple different decisions before deciding to go into the net? How did that all kind of break down for you?
Actually, I remember like when I was young, I used to watch Marcus Allen play a lot because he was from Fort St. James too. So I always watched him play, and I was like, Dad, I want to be a goalie just like that. And I remember he gave me a set of gear for my first time. Ever since then, I would want to be a goalie. That was when I was like 7 or something, 7 or 8. So I've kind of wanted to be a goalie ever since I was young, all because of Marcus Allen and watching him play.
Yeah, Marcus Allen, a bit of a folk hero in the Fort St. James area, especially when we did the Winter Classic / Fort St. James weekends with the Cariboo Cougars. You had mentioned earlier about that U16 minor midget team, which was loaded with talent, by the way. Maybe talk about how special that team was. It was coached by Ryan House. There's a lot of talent on it. Decker Moinchin now playing with the Spruce Grove Saints, among a whole slew of others. I think Tyson Smith was on that team too. Obviously, it got shut down prematurely due to COVID. You were obviously among the favorites to win that year. Scott Cousins was on that team too. Just maybe talk about, what made that group so special and why you were able to have so much success on the ice.
Well, I think with that group, they've been playing together ever since they were like young. So the chemistry was unreal, and it showed offensively too. Like every game, we had no problem scoring. Offense was never an issue. Like everyone on that team was so strong and confident with the puck. And as you said, most of them are off playing Junior A and WHL now. Just a really good team, and just starting like young help them all know how each other plays and how to complement each other very well.
You still have a lot of friends on that team?
Yeah, I still talk to a lot of them actually.
Mm-hmm. How disappointing was it to kind of have that season, which had a lot of promise to it? You were among the favorites to win the championship that year. How unfortunate was it to kind of have the season end the way it did when the pandemic first hit?
Oh, I remember I was in math class with Scott Cousins, and then we were just like doing our work and stuff. And then he just told me, yeah, they just canceled their bus trip. They're not coming up anymore. And we're both like, no, what does that mean? And then we got the text from Ryan House. And we all kind of faded out. I remember me and Scott started like tearing up in class because we wanted to win that year so bad. And we had just moved into the Spruce Kings dressing room because we were going to play in the Coliseum. So we were all so excited to play in that rink and be in their dressing room and have all the fans and stuff. But we were so devastated when I got cut short.
Speaking of the pandemic, how difficult was it for you, and what led you to ultimately joining, OHA and instead of coming back to the Cariboo program?
Oh yeah, well I went to OHA because I knew they weren't going to take the ice out at all during the pandemic. So we were still skating all the time, and we skated like twice a day, every day. So even though we weren't playing games, it was nice to be on the ice every day and still get development and just be around. But it definitely did hurt a little bit because there were a few weeks we had to take off when like COVID got around OHA, and kind of set everyone back, which was really difficult. But I think we have made the most of it. The academy still got a lot of ice time and focused on schooling and stuff like that.
We talk about obviously the mental health impacts among young people on the pandemic. How did you hold up, mentally during that time?
It was tough too, like being my first year away from home, especially during the pandemic like that, like right after. It was tough, but I think I had a really good friend group that helped me through it too. Just being with your friends, trying to be positive, doing everything you can and not taking everything for granted. Because I feel like that was everyone's problem. Everyone was so used to doing everything. And when it got taken away, everyone was like, ugh, it's not what I'm used to. And we've got to not take that for granted.
What's it like playing in Nelson in the heart of the Kootenays, and just maybe describe the quality of hockey out in the KI?
It's really physical. It's a very physical league compared to what I'm used to. The fans are unbelievable. Like on our home opener, we had a ton of fans. The rink was packed. I remember we were down 1-0 early, and then we just scored one in the third period, tied up with like 3 minutes left to go. And then I remember our captain Bennett scored the game winner, and the building was so loud. It was unreal. Just the fans here are crazy. And everyone thinks, yeah, it's junior B. It's not that good. It's still a pretty fast league, very physical, very strong. And the bodies are definitely a lot bigger. I noticed that like traffic in front of the net, everyone just funnels to the net and they're huge.
What's it like living out there? Because I've heard that Nelson is kind of this, I don't want to say, for lack of a better term, hippie-ish, but it's a pretty cool community from what I've heard. It's got a certain vibe to it, and that neck of the Kootenays. What's it like living there?
Oh, it's so cool. Like there's like no when I first got here, I was looking for Tim Hortons or something like that just as a quick snack. They have no fast food restaurants in here at all. Like it's all small little cafes and stuff. And everyone here is so friendly. Like you'll just walk around and start a conversation with someone on the street for like 5 minutes. But the town itself is so like, it's like very downtown focused, and there's a lot of old buildings too, like that have just not been like redone at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it just looks really cool. It's like very historical and very friendly town.
Mm-hmm. Do you like to ski or snowboard or hike at all?
I used to snowboard a lot, but I haven't done that in a long time. But being out here, I think I might have to bring the snowboard out again.
Yeah. Who were some of your early hockey idols growing up? I know you mentioned Marcus Allen already, but were there any NHL players that you looked up to, any goalies, that you kind of looked up to that played pro? Or did you maybe go to a lot of Cougars or Spruce Kings games while you were in Prince George at all?
Well, when I was in Prince George, I used to watch Ty Edmonds play a lot. And he was a big, like, I was like, oh, I want to be like Ty Edmonds because he was having a lot of success. I remember going to the CHL game, like all-star games like that. And he ended up coaching me in Bantam, which was really cool. I thought that was a really cool thing for me. And NHL-wise, I was a big fan of Roberto Luongo, big Vancouver guy, watching him play. I was a big fan of Andre Pavlik, too. He was the Winnipeg goalie way back. And I think just watching, like, NHL like that makes a kid like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to be like that. So not really a specific goalie, just watching games in general made me kind of want to play like that.
You mentioned Ty Edmonds. What was the biggest thing that he impressed upon you when he coached you as one of his goaltenders?
He was a really good coach. He was super fun all the time, and he wasn't always super negative, which was nice. Like if you did something well, he'd let you know. And if you did something bad, he wouldn't like be way too negative on it. Kept a pretty positive, fresh mindset. And he helped me pretty technically.
Mm-hmm. What are your goals for the season specifically?
This season, obviously, I want to win as many games as I can and have success with my team and myself. I want to have the best stats I possibly can. And I'm hoping also to make like a jump to junior A at some time. Maybe not this year, maybe next year, but hopefully get some junior A attention from this season. But like I said, I just want to win as many games as possible, win the league, and have team success.
When you got released from Spruce Grove, was there any feedback that they told you? Did they kind of give you any pointers or hints to work on certain technical parts of your game at all?
There wasn't too much like that, but they knew I didn't play the best I could, as I had been there a few years before at their main camp, and I knew I didn't play the best either. So I think they knew I could have done better, and I think they knew what I did wrong. So they left it up to me to figure it out and determine what I need to do better to make that jump to junior A.
Actually, to kind of bring this conversation full circle, your head coach and general manager Adam DeBella with Nelson. I actually broadcasted his games when he was playing for the Melville Millionaires in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League.
He was telling me that at the rink yesterday, actually.
Yeah. I used to stream a lot of the home games for Melville at their home rink, and I went on a couple bus trips with them. And he was always one of those rugged defensemen, on the blue line for the team in Melville. So it's funny, somebody that I watched play 10 years ago is now coaching, and here I am talking to you, and you're being coached by one of the people that I watched just a short time ago.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. He was telling me at the rink yesterday that I used to watch his games and call him. He was like, "Oh yeah, I remember that guy." I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Any last words or last thoughts in regards to your time in Nelson, or thoughts on the season at all, just before I let you go?
We started really strong, which I'm super happy about, and I'm loving the town. So I'm happy I ended up here. I'm obviously upset that I didn't play junior A and stuff, but it's a really good town, and I'm really enjoying myself so far. So I'm pretty happy I made it in Nelson here.
Well, Jasper, thank you very much for joining me here on this interview on this Hockey North podcast, and best of luck to you this season, and hopefully we'll cross paths again here sometime soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Jasper.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. That's our interview with Jasper Tait. Another funny thing I want to mention in regards to his situation in Nelson, his head coach and general manager, Adam DeBella, down with the Leafs, I actually watched him play and broadcasted his games at the junior A level in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League with the Melville Millionaires, where Jamie Fiesel was his coach. So it's kind of funny to see kind of things kind of come full circle a little bit. You deal with a guy that you used to watch play and kind of rub shoulders with on a semi-regular basis in his junior A playing days, and now he's a coach coaching another player that you're watching and who's trying to make the same step up in his hockey career. So, the hockey world truly is a small one, and it's nice to reconnect with Adam as well as connect with Jasper for the very first time in an interview setting. And of course, maybe not too distant future, maybe we can do it again with Jasper as Nelson continues to see their success on the ice.
No, for sure. And thank you for that awesome interview. Thank you, Jasper, for coming on to the podcast and participating in that interview with us. And, to the listeners watching from home or listening through the speakers on Spotify, thank you so much for tuning in. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, bye for now.
I need to know.